Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Dale of Dale's Leatherworks. What are we drinking today? David E. Pennsylvania Straight Bourbon Whiskey. All right, so I have a very exciting announcement today. So I am Dale of Dale's Leatherworks, and to prove that I do leatherworks, I'm actually announcing a project here. I'm going to be announcing a run of belts. So I have partnered with Isaac at Pigeon Tree Crafting. I did a run of quick release buckles from Japan. These are made in Japan, raw brass quick release buckles. They are absolutely extraordinary, much better than the other brass quick release buckle that I offer. These were not cheap. The other ones that I buy are about 10 bucks a buckle. These are more like 30 bucks a buckle, and you gotta wait a long time for them. They're hard to source and they're expensive. So this whole batch of buckles and keepers was a clean 1,500 bucks. So these 3 boxes were $1,500 for this hardware, just so you know what we're working with here. So Pigeon Tree brass keepers, real thick and beefy. So I have a total of 50 buckles, and then I ordered some oak bark harness from Carmine Jack Leather. I don't know a whole lot about their operation, but they're based out of Minnesota, and I've bought several belt blanks from them. Carmine Jack is the official US distributor of J&FJ Baker leather. This is my first time buying entire sides of oak bark, so I'm going to be doing 3 colors. And so we're getting to look at these for the very first time. These have been sitting in my workshop for a good couple weeks. So this is going to be natural oak bark, heavily waxed, very firm temper. Let me get a gauge on the thickness here. So this is 12 ounce. Yeah, consistently 12 ounces throughout the body. I don't know how many belt blanks I'm going to be able to get out of this. Once again, I have 50 buckles. I estimate if I could get about 15 to 20 blanks per cut, then we'll be looking good. And then the next 2 colors are wrapped up together. We've got, this is called Australian Nut, which I've never met an Australian that wasn't a nut. Just kidding. Sorry, Take, if you're watching, you're an ace in my book. So there's Australian Nut. Then over here we have wrapped up with it black. So black oak bark, Australian Nut, oak bark, and natural. So throughout the course of this video, I'll be taking you through the production process. I'll show you how I make a belt. But long story short, I've sunk a good, probably $3,000 into these materials, so I can't be giving these belts away for free. The price is probably going to be comparable to Isaac at Pigeon Tree Crafting's prices. I'm thinking probably between 150 and 180 to 200, but these are 100% worth it, and these are very limited run. As you can see, there's a lot that goes into this, right? I waited a good probably 6 to 8 months for this hardware, and then I waited and these leathers aren't always available through Carmine Jack, so I waited quite a bit of time for all this material to get here. It's quite a bit of an investment, and so as you can see, it's not just a matter of spending money for the materials, it's also a matter of waiting, right? So, but throughout the course of this video, I'll be showing you how I cut the straps, how I rivet everything together, and for sizing, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. So far, how I've done it, I know some belt makers like to do, like, have you measure your belt from the tip of the prong. So some belt makers have you measure from this, basically from the prong all the way to the most utilized hole. So measure the length from here to here essentially. But I don't do it that way. The way I've been doing it is, okay, I give 7 holes. Isaac gives 5 holes in his belts. I do 7 because, well, my weight fluctuates a lot, and so I understand the struggle of weight fluctuations, and so that's why I want my belts to be able to be worn by guys for a long time. And so hopefully we could get you into a belt that you'll be able to wear for life, no matter how much weight goes up or down. You could always wear these belts. I'm just gonna have you order your vanity pants size. So if you wear a size 32, you know, that actually means you're wearing a true to size a 34-inch waist, okay? So, but if you just go to the store, whenever I'm shopping for pants at J. Crew, Banana Republic, American Eagle, whatever, I buy 32, right? That actually means a 34-inch waist. I have lost some weight. I could probably be wearing a 31 or a 30. Most of my pants are stretch anyways, so I just dry them and shrink them down. And anyways, the 32 seems to fit me whether I gain or lose 20 pounds. So my 32 is just my pant size. So if you say you order a size 32 because you wear a waist size 32 pants, that's vanity sizing again, common US stores, buying your pants from these stores. What I'm gonna do with that 32 is I'm gonna trace a line from the tip of this all the way to the 32 mark. I'm gonna add 2 inches to that, and I'm gonna put the center hole at the 34-inch mark. Okay, so this will all be on the website. If you're wearing a US size 32 pant, your waist is actually 34 inches, meaning your center hole is gonna be at 34 inches. So in other words, I'm doing this so that you don't have to get a tape measure and measure your waist. You don't have to measure your belts, order your normal pant size, and I will ensure that your center hole lines up with a vanity sized, properly fit waist. I hope I'm not overthinking this, overdoing this, but I'm just thinking for the sake of simplicity, like my buddy Angel at Nobleman's Apothecary, he did this. He just said, all right, give me your waist size 32, and he gave a very generously sized belt. And so that's what I'm trying to do as well. If you wear a size 30 pant, order the size 30 belt. If you wear a size 38 pant, order my size 38 belt. Your 38, your center hole is going to be at the 40-inch mark. So if your waist is actually 38 inches, well, guess what? You got some extra slack. If your waist is actually 40 inches, it's still going to fit you, right? It's just going to come closer to the end. And so that's why I do it that way. Let me hear your thoughts and comments on that. I've debated which way I would like to size the belts, but I just feel like keeping it simple, since I'm catering to mostly an American audience, I feel like this is going to be an effective way. I haven't had any complaints in terms of belt sizing thus far. I've probably sold a good 10, 15 belts though, so that's what we're dealing with. But I just want to keep it simple. Order your pant size, and I'll explain all this in better detail. If I'm not doing a good job here, I'll explain all this in better detail on the ordering page. What I love about this stuff, this oak bark, is it's just so waxy. Lots of excess wax all over the surface of it. It is tough. This stuff does not stretch. Stiff as a board. You don't break these belts in, they break you in. Anyways, without further ado, let's go over to my fancy cutting machine, and let's cut some strips, shall we? I'm going to show you the full process. I'm trying to be fully transparent with how I do everything. All rivets are done by hand. All hole punches are done by hand. If this is a success, I'm going to continue to order these premium belt buckles from Pigeon Tree Crafting because they're so good. I absolutely love them. The other ones that I was using are very good, but it also allowed me, because of the reduced price, it allowed me to sell the belts at 120 bucks. These, like I said, a lot pricier, a lot more rare, a lot more robust. It just commands a higher price point, and there's really nothing I could do about that until I start a charity where I'm just giving stuff away for free. No, just kidding. So let's get over to the other side of the workshop. Welcome back to the Leather Lab, guys. Well, that was fun. I cranked out a ton of belts. So, the natural. We've got the black, and we've got the Australian nut. So before you, this is a lot of work right here. This was cutting, this was riveting, this was installing the Japanese brass buckles. These are the heaviest, most hardcore heavy-duty belts I've ever made. And aside from Isaac at Pigeon Tree Crafting, I dare you to find a heavier, more hardcore belt than these. These are quite possibly the tankiest of tank belts that you're ever gonna find. So this is a lot of work. I sunk a good 25 hours into making all these. And so all that remains is when you place your order, I'm just going to punch the holes and ship them off, essentially. Punch the holes, take the tail off, and ship them off. I want to be fully transparent about why these belts have to be priced a little higher. So right now I'm thinking somewhere between $180 to $200 per belt. I spent $1,500 on the leather and I think $1,800 on the hardware. It comes out to about 30 bucks a buckle, and I think like 15 bucks for this keeper here. Not to mention these rivets are not cheap either. I think 100 pack is 30 bucks, if I'm not mistaken. This is the heaviest duty stuff that I could amalgamate into one thing. And so that's why each belt blank is about 30 bucks. And then there's about $45 worth of hardware in this, not to mention the labor, not to mention the shipping, not to mention the taxes and all that stuff. I mean, this is hard work. Leather work is hard work. There's a lot, there is so much moving parts, and I still don't even have these photographed yet, you know? It's like, you order the material, you put the material together, you take pictures of it, then you do a video, you talk about it, then you announce it on Instagram. There's just, I could see why the team at Rose Anvil is like multiple employees, right? I get it now, because holy moly. Not to mention I'm working on some bags too. This stuff ain't easy, folks. So anyways, I hope you will support me by ordering a belt. I vouch for this stuff. This stuff is, it feels so good to make something of such high quality and then to share that with the world. Unfortunately, I do have to make my money back. If I could give stuff away for free, I would. Truly. I want to do this to help enrich people's lives, to experience real garments like they would have been made by the most talented people throughout antiquity. This is sort of a great gift. I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining. I'm just sort of trying to provide a little bit of transparency. This is why I can't sell this stuff off for cheap. It's because I invested so much of my own money into it to be able to sit before this pile of deliciousness that you see before you. Now, each belt will ship with I'm going to try to give a matching keychain, Dale's Leatherworks keychain. So if you order the natural, you'll get the natural. I send a keychain with every order, by the way. And then once the belts are done, I will be able to offer cuffs. I'm going to do a run of cuffs in these 3 leathers as well, using the scrap from the belts. Now, these, because of how thick this leather is, it is near impossible to get a consistent cuff cut out of this stuff. This stuff is not buttery. It is extremely difficult. Every time I run it through my strap cutter, the strap cutter, no matter how I hold it, drifts. The adjustment drifts, and it gets larger and larger. And so I'm gonna have to actually run it through my belt cutter, which you saw the footage of earlier. I just have to recalibrate it, put in new separation discs. It's a whole mess, but that's the only way I'm going to be able to get consistent cuffs out of that. So once the belts are done, the cuffs will roll out eventually, but whew, what a good time. Anyways, once again, for sizing, I'm going to lay this all out in the description, but If you order a size 40, I'm going to add 2. I'm going to put the center hole of 7 at the 42-inch mark. So if you wear a size 40 pant, order the size 40 belt, and your center hole will be at the 42-inch mark, and it should line up with vanity sizing. If there's any question about that, there's going to be tons of clarification on the website, or if you just want to order based off what you think you'll like the most. Like for example, Isaac at Pigeon Tree Crafting, he does 5 holes. He makes your tail, I think, 2.5 inches from the last hole. I actually like a little bit more distance from the last hole to the end, so I'm doing about 5.5 inches from the last hole. So you have a little bit more, right? I think I like to have a little bit more extra length myself. That's why I leave a little bit more of the tail. So my belts, I designed them to just run a little longer, give you a little bit more wiggle room. You gain weight, you lose weight, it's still going to work for you. Hopefully for life. Like I said, you have that 7-inch range. So anyways, this is Dale of Dale's Leatherworks in the Leather Lab, signing out. And once again, thanks so much, guys, for entertaining this offer. These belts are, I mean, they're weapons. If you're out in the wilderness, right, and you get attacked by a grizzly bear, you take that belt off and you use it like a whip, man. You use the hardware as the club, and you can mess that bear up. Yeah, and the quick release function, it works off of tension, and I positioned the rivets, the smooth side facing outward, so that way when you run the tail through the keeper, there's no obstruction here. At first I was making the belts with the studs facing outward, and this belt would kind of obstruct along the way. So this way it's just a smooth in and out. See, I thought of all the angles already. With that, I'll shut it down. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and for considering the belts. Very excited about this run. End of transmission.